Welcome. Anna from Flow and Purpose here. I'm glad that you're joining me on this journey of 12 days self-exploration. And today's topic is about relationships. Whether we realize it or not, we're constantly in relation to ourselves and what we experience, in relation to other people, and in relation to the wider world and nature. These are all different aspects of the one consciousness that we all are. And in the holiday season, relationships sometimes gets complicated. And the reason for that is that the past ends up intruding into the present. And I'll illustrate what I mean, and I'll do a short exercise with you on this topic. So perhaps you've experienced that in the past, that during holiday gatherings when all the families reunited, perhaps that you step back into a childhood role that you've had, that certain relationships within the family become how they were when you were growing up, and that may feel irritating, or it may provoke certain strong emotions in you or in other people. And that doesn't have to be like that. As an adult, it is possible to completely transcend these dynamics. But in order to transcend them, one has to be able to see them clearly. So here is the exercise that I hope you would like to do together with me, is to think of something that has previously arisen during this period, in your experience, when you have felt triggered, where you have felt hard done by, or you've reacted angrily, or it's been very painful to you. See what comes to mind. And I invite you now to sit down and close your eyes and go into the circumstances of this event, which you may worry will happen again, or a different version of it. And let's explore together exactly what it is. So perhaps something was said or something was done, and a certain reaction came up in your experience. So I ask you to put away the story, to put away the words that were spoken, the deeds that were done, and not to consider who was in the right, who was in the wrong. All of that you let go. And the only thing to be in touch with is how it resonated in you. What was the experience? What were the feelings that were triggered in you? And maybe that was sadness, maybe it was hurt, maybe it was anger, impatience. And see if you can actually not only name the feeling, but also feel it physically in this moment in your body. And if you're able to turn to this feeling, and perhaps you feel a certain constriction or certain heaviness in your body related to this feeling, just with your attention there, see how old this feeling is, whether it's familiar. And you just ask that question, how old is this feeling? And it may surprise you that this feeling is there not only from this one particular occasion that you've now had in mind, but the feeling is much older. And perhaps some other memory surfaces, but it doesn't have to. It's just this feeling of what is now being triggered, or what was then triggered with this example we're working with, that is actually a much older feeling that has been re-triggered. And now the question is, can you find compassion for yourself for what had originally brought this feeling to the surface? Maybe it's repeated, could be childhood trauma, it could be just not having been sufficiently seen, heard, and appreciated for who you truly are. These parts of ourselves that are very young and very fragile, if we're able to connect with them, they're able to relax. Now, from our adult perspective, we can welcome them and we can really hold them just as you would hold a scared child or a sad child. You don't need to fix. You don't need to make it better than what it is. You welcome it, and you're there in the way that you wish a trusted other was there for you as that small child that perhaps was experiencing the pain or the hurt that is getting re-triggered in these new situations. And you were just there as the adult self, holding this younger part of you with great compassion and gentleness, but also with understanding about what had happened, and understanding also about what has not happened but should have happened. All the needs that younger part of you had, and the fact that those needs form part were not met or not sufficiently met. And you can also put a hand where you feel that in your heart or in your belly, wherever it is. Maybe it's the shoulders or the face. So just be there with your attention and your gentle care. And feel how healing that is, how pleasant it is, that for that wounded part of ourselves, finally there is some attention. Finally, there is understanding. And finally, we're not afraid to look. And you can ask if there's anything else that's needed in this moment, what this young part in yourself would appreciate, and you, the older, wise self, can do that. So how this plays out in real life, I give you a moment to come out of the meditation now and know that you can do this anytime that you have a spare moment for anything that is being triggered in the present, to just research, is that an older part that is getting triggered? A child's part that needs comforting, that needs understanding and compassion. And so how this plays out in real life is that the more you learn to self-soothe in this way, the less, in a way, there's no space more to get triggered. So in the situation that we started off with, maybe the provocative act or the provocative words are still there, and you will just notice that you come from a place of non-reactivity. So these words will not land in the same way. The person who is saying them may even be surprised that you fail to react, or that you're not hurt, or that you don't react from anger. And if you're able to maintain that, not artificially, but you're just resting in your awareness, and there's no reaction to what is being said from that place of hurt, then very often the other person can also relax. Or maybe not, maybe they get even more triggered that the response that they've been expecting isn't coming. But if they're receptive, your relationship can just come to a whole new level and be so much more satisfying and beautiful. So please feel free to experiment with this. The meditation I've done with you is definitely a help. You can re-listen to that, but you can also make your own modifications to it. And please experiment and let me know how that goes. I wish you a very pleasant time, and I wish you a wonderful time in the holiday season with those that you love and those that love you. And now for the traditional new decoration in the tree. See you tomorrow.